Marilyn Monroe walks into Lee Strasberg's actor's studio for her first class. The room is full of serious Broadway actors who've trained for years. One of them looks at her, nudges his partner, and whispers loud enough for everyone to hear which modeling agency sent her. The others laugh. Marilyn hears every word. She doesn't defend herself, just sits down quietly. What happens when she performs her monologue doesn't just silence the room, it makes Strasberg cry. Before we continue with this story, please take just 10 seconds to subscribe and hit that like button. It helps us bring you more stories like this one. Now let's discover together what really happened when Marilyn Monroe walked into that classroom. New York City, Wednesday morning. Early spring, the actor's studio occupies a converted church on West 44th Street. Gray stone, arched windows. Nothing suggests this building houses the most influential acting school in America. Inside, the second-floor studio space has high ceilings and exposed beams. Rows of folding chairs face a small performance area. No stage, no lights. Just floor space marked with tape. Bare brick walls. No decoration. A place for work, for stripping away everything false. 40 people fill the room. All serious actors, most trained for years. Classical backgrounds, Broadway experience. They're here to learn the method from Lee Strasberg. Strasberg sits at the front, 54 years old, small frame, glasses. He looks unassuming, but when he speaks about acting, the room leans forward. He's the high priest of method acting. By 9:45, most seats are filled. Veterans take the front rows. Newcomers stay in back. The energy is focused, intense. These aren't casual students. These are professionals. Success in Hollywood means nothing here. Only the work matters. At 9:50, the door opens. Marilyn Monroe walks in. She's wearing simple clothes, dark slacks, a white button-down shirt, flat shoes. Her hair is pulled back into a low ponytail. No elaborate styling, no platinum curls, no makeup visible. She carries a small bag over her shoulder. No entourage, no assistant, no handler. Just her, alone. The room notices immediately. Heads turn. Conversations stop mid-sentence. 40 people watching her walk down the center aisle, looking for a seat. The attention is immediate and total, not because she looks like a movie star. She doesn't, not today. The attention comes from recognition, from the cognitive dissonance of seeing Marilyn Monroe in this space, in this serious place dedicated to serious work. An actor in the third row, a man in his 30s with a beard and worn corduroy jacket, leans toward his neighbor, says something. His voice is low but not quite low enough. The room is too quiet. Sound carries. Which modeling agency sent her? The woman next to him smiles, covers her mouth, but the smile is visible. Other people nearby hear it. A few laugh, small laughs, quiet, but audible. The kind of laugh that says they agree. The kind that says the joke landed because it expressed what everyone was thinking. Marilyn is still walking down the aisle. She hears it, hears the laugh, sees the turned heads, sees the expressions. Skepticism, amusement, dismissal. She's walked into a room that has already decided she doesn't belong here, already decided she's a joke. A Hollywood actress slumming in serious theater, a movie star playing at being an artist. She doesn't stop walking, doesn't turn to confront the man who spoke, doesn't defend herself, doesn't explain why she's here, just continues down the aisle to the back row, finds an empty seat in the corner, sits down, sets her bag on the floor, folds her hands in her lap, waits. The room slowly returns to its previous state. Conversations resume. But the energy has changed. There's a new topic now. Marilyn Monroe. Why is she here? Did Strasberg invite her? Is this a publicity stunt? Does she actually think she can do method work? The whispers continue. Some people try to be discreet. Others don't bother. They assume she's just a movie star, assume she doesn't understand what real acting requires. Assume this is temporary. She'll come for a session or two. Realize it's too hard, too demanding. Then disappear back to Hollywood, where things are easy and shallow. A woman in the front row, early 40s, severe haircut, turns to look at Marilyn. Her expression is not hostile exactly. More like pitying. Like looking at someone who's lost. Someone who wandered into the wrong building. She shakes her head slightly, turns back around. The gesture says everything. This isn't going to work. This girl doesn't belong. Strasberg enters at exactly 10. He walks to his chair, sets down his coffee, looks at the assembled students. His eyes scan the room, taking attendance mentally, noting who's here, who's absent. His gaze passes over Marilyn, stops, returns. He nods once, acknowledgement. Then continues his scan. Doesn't make a big announcement, doesn't introduce her, just nods and moves on. The session begins. Strasberg asks who has material prepared. A young man volunteers, performs a Clifford Odets monologue, competent, technically sound, but too much showing. Strasberg gives feedback. The craft was visible. That's the barrier. Another student. A woman. Tennessee Williams. Blanche Dubois. Strasberg stops her halfway. The memory she's using is too safe. The character's breakdown requires something more dangerous. The woman looks exposed but nods. That's the work. 3 more students perform. Each gets similar treatment. An hour passes. Then Marilyn raises her hand, slow, tentative, from the back corner. The room turns, 40 heads swiveling to look at her. The energy shifts immediately. Surprise, curiosity, skepticism. She's actually going to perform. The Hollywood actress is going to get up in front of 40 trained professionals and perform. This should be interesting. This should be entertaining. This should confirm everything they already believe about her. Strasberg looks at her. His expression is neutral, professional. He asks if she's prepared something. Marilyn nods, stands, picks up her bag, walks down the aisle to the performance area. Her footsteps are the only sound. 40 people watching her cross that space. Watching how she moves. Judging already. Deciding already. She reaches the marked performance space, sets her bag down just outside it, takes out a thin script, pages marked with notes in pen. She's been working on this, studying it. The evidence is visible in the worn pages, the highlighted sections, the margin notes. Marilyn stands in the center of the space, looks at Strasberg, tells him she prepared a monologue from Anna Christie. Eugene O'Neill. The character is explaining why she became a prostitute. Talking about the men who used her, about losing herself piece by piece, about shame and survival. It's a challenging piece. O'Neill is not easy. The language is specific, the emotional terrain is brutal. It requires complete honesty, complete vulnerability. No movie star charm, no beauty as a shield, just raw human pain. Strasberg nods, asks what she's using for emotional preparation. Marilyn explains quietly. She's using sense memory, recalling a specific time, a specific room, a specific feeling of being seen but not known, of being wanted but not valued, of understanding she was a thing to people, not a person, a thing. Strasberg's expression changes slightly. Interest, real interest. That's the right approach. That's sophisticated understanding of the technique. She knows what she's doing, or at least she knows the theory. The question is whether she can execute it. Marilyn sets the script down. She's memorized it. Doesn't need to hold the pages. Takes a breath, closes her eyes briefly, then opens them, and begins. Her voice when she speaks is different from any voice she's ever used on screen. Not breathy. Not performed. Raw. Stripped. The character's accent is there. Working class. Rough around the edges. But it's not put on. It's inhabited. She's not doing an accent. She's speaking from inside a person who would talk this way. The monologue pours out. Anna talking about her father, about being sent away, about the men who hurt her, about learning that her body was the only thing people wanted from her, about the exhaustion of being used, the shame of survival, the cold acceptance that this is what life is. Marilyn doesn't move much, doesn't gesture dramatically, just stands there. Talking, but everything in her body communicates the character's state. The slight collapse in her shoulders, the way her hands hang at her sides, dead weight, the way she looks past the audience, seeing something else, somewhere else. Someone else. The room is completely silent. No one shifts in their seat. No one coughs. No one looks away. They're witnessing something, something real, something they didn't expect. The bearded actor who made the joke sits frozen. His expression has changed. The amusement is gone. He's leaning forward now, watching carefully. His friend next to him has stopped smiling, just watching. The woman in the front row with the severe haircut stares at Marilyn with her mouth slightly open, not shock exactly. Recognition. She's seeing something she understands. Something true. Marilyn reaches the section where Anna talks about shame, about looking at herself in mirrors and not recognizing the person looking back, about performing happiness for men who paid her, about dying inside while her body continued functioning. The words come slower here, heavier, each one costs something to say. The emotion in the room becomes palpable, physical. Several people have tears on their faces. A young actress in the fourth row is crying silently. An older actor in the third row has his hand over his mouth. Strasberg sits completely still, watching. His eyes haven't left Marilyn. Haven't blinked. The monologue builds to its conclusion. Anna talking about wanting to be clean, about wanting to start over, about the impossibility of escape, of how the past stays in your body, in your bones, how you carry it everywhere, how it defines you no matter how far you run. Marilyn delivers the final lines looking at the floor, her voice barely above a whisper. The words about shame, about being damaged, about accepting you'll never be whole again, about learning to live with being broken. The last word hangs in the air, then silence. Complete silence. No one moves, no one breathes. The 40 people in that room sit frozen, processing what they just witnessed, trying to understand how the person they dismissed just exposed something so raw, so true, so completely honest. Strasberg doesn't speak immediately. He sits there, looking at Marilyn. His hand comes up to his face, covers his eyes. His shoulders shake once. He's crying. Lee Strasberg is crying. The man who's analyzed thousands of performances, who maintains clinical distance as a teaching tool, who prides himself on objective assessment. He's crying. The room sees this, sees their teacher overwhelmed, sees him respond not as a teacher but as a human being, watching another human being bleed truth in front of them. Finally Strasberg lowers his hand, his eyes are red, he takes off his glasses, wipes them, puts them back on, looks at Marilyn, speaks quietly, tells her that was extraordinary, not good, not promising, extraordinary, the real thing, pure emotional truth, no technique visible. No craft showing, just a person revealing themselves completely. He asks what memory she used. Marilyn tells him, a hotel room, 3 years ago, after a premiere, alone looking in the mirror, realizing everyone at the party had seen her body, but no one had seen her, that she'd smiled and posed, and performed all night, and came home feeling emptier than she'd ever felt. That moment when she understood the gap between her image and her reality, between being famous and being known. The room listens to this, hears her describe using her own pain, her own isolation, not pretending, not reaching for someone else's experience, using her own. That's method work. That's what Strasberg teaches. Emotional truth through personal connection. The bearded actor who made the joke sits very still. His face is red, not from anger, from shame, from recognition of his own cruelty, from realizing he judged someone based on her appearance, based on his assumptions, based on nothing real. 2 actors in the middle rows stand up. They don't say anything, just stand and walk toward the exit. One is the severe-haired woman from the front row. The other is a middle-aged man who's been studying with Strasberg for 3 years. They leave. The door closes behind them. They can't stay, can't sit in that room after what they just witnessed, after their own prejudice was exposed so completely. Strasberg continues, talks about the piece, about what worked. Everything worked. The preparation was sound. The execution was fearless. The emotional availability was total. This is what the method looks like when done correctly. This is what's possible when an actor stops protecting themselves and allows complete vulnerability. He tells Marilyn to trust this, to know that she has access to real talent. Not movie star talent, actor talent, the kind that transforms people, the kind that matters. She's capable of work at the highest level. She needs to believe that, needs to protect it, needs to develop it. Marilyn nods, says thank you quietly, picks up her script, walks back to her seat in the corner. The room parts for her. People shift in their chairs to let her pass. But it's different now. Not clearing space dismissively, clearing space respectfully, making room for someone who just proved she belongs. She sits down, puts the script back in her bag, folds her hands in her lap, the same position as before. But everything has changed. The room knows it. She knows it. Strasberg continues the class, calls on another student, but the energy is different. That performance hangs over everything, becomes the standard. The example. The proof of what's possible. When the session ends at noon, people stand slowly, gather their things. Some approach Marilyn, tell her that was powerful, that was real. She thanks them quietly, doesn't elaborate, doesn't explain, just accepts the acknowledgement. The bearded actor approaches last, stands in front of her, looks uncomfortable, says he owes her an apology. What he said when she walked in was wrong, disrespectful. He judged her unfairly. Marilyn looks at him, doesn't make him suffer, just says people make assumptions. It's normal. What matters is being willing to change those assumptions when shown evidence. He did that. That's enough. He thanks her, walks away. Marilyn watches him go, then picks up her bag, walks toward the exit. Strasberg is standing near the door, talking to another student. He sees Marilyn approaching, stops his conversation, tells her she's welcome anytime, tells her she has real ability, tells her not to let Hollywood destroy it, to keep working, keep developing, keep protecting the truth she showed today. Marilyn thanks him, says she'll be back next week. Strasberg nods, believes her. She leaves. The story spreads through New York theater circles within days. Marilyn Monroe at the Actors Studio, not as a curiosity, not as a movie star slumming, as a real student, doing real work. Work that made Strasberg cry, work that made veteran actors leave the room because they couldn't face their own prejudice. Some people dismiss it, say it was one good performance. Doesn't mean anything, doesn't prove she's serious. But the people who were there know differently, know what they witnessed, know she revealed something genuine, something that can't be faked. Marilyn continues attending classes, week after week, month after month, preparing pieces, performing, getting feedback, improving, learning. The other students accept her, not because she's famous, because she works, because she's vulnerable, because she takes risks, because she treats the craft with respect. The bearded actor becomes one of her friends in class. They work on scenes together. He tells people later that Marilyn was one of the most instinctive actors he ever worked with, that she had access to emotional truth most people spend years trying to reach, that Hollywood wasted her by putting her in comedies, that she was capable of so much more. Strasberg takes her on as a private student, works with her weekly, helps her develop technique, helps her trust her instincts. Years later, he'll say Marilyn Monroe was one of the 2 or 3 most talented actors he ever taught, that she had something rare, something precious, that the world never fully understood what she was capable of. But that morning in the actor's studio, none of that has happened yet. That morning she's just a woman who walked into a room of people who dismissed her, who laughed at her, who decided she didn't belong, and in 10 minutes, without raising her voice, without defending herself, without explaining anything, she changed every mind in that room, made believers out of skeptics, made allies out of mockers, made 40 serious actors reconsider what they thought they knew about talent and where it lives. The modeling agency joke stopped being funny that morning, stopped being something people repeated, became instead a reminder of how badly you can misjudge someone, how completely wrong your assumptions can be, how much you can miss when you decide someone's value based on their appearance. That's what happened when Marilyn Monroe walked into Lee Strasberg's class. Not a publicity stunt, not a movie star playing pretend, just a serious actor doing serious work, and making everyone watching realize they'd been wrong about her, completely, totally wrong. Think about the rooms you walk into, the assumptions people make about you before you speak, the judgments formed on appearance or reputation. Marilyn Monroe walked into a room of trained professionals who decided she was a joke. Then she showed them something so real, so true, so honest, that their teacher cried. Your moment to prove yourself will come. The question is, will you be ready? Will you have done the work? Will you be willing to be that vulnerable? Subscribe for more stories about the gap between perception and reality, about the moment when assumptions shatter, and ask yourself, who have you underestimated today?